Thank you, Chief Minister, and I'm delighted to speak at what has become, for years now, one of the great events of the Conservative Party conference, the Gibraltar Reception. Relations between Gibraltar and Britain have never been closer, and I think it's fair to say that relations between the British government and the government of Gibraltar have seldom been better than they are today. The trials of the last couple of years have shown that we are stronger when we work together. And we do. And we do. Since the last party conference, Gibraltar's been visited by the Minister for the Armed Forces and, of course, as the Chief Minister said, by our excellent Minister for Europe, David Lidington. And you, Chief Minister, have worked very closely with us. Chief Minister, you must remain politically neutral, so please do not move a facial muscle. But I can say to the rest of the people in the room that we have shown that with a Conservative government, you don't get the sellouts, you don't get the attempted betrayals of Gibraltar that we saw under Labour. So just for the record, let me repeat this government's position. We are resolute in our defence of British sovereignty over Gibraltar. We never let an unlawful Spanish incursion into British Gibraltar territorial waters go unanswered. And we will continue to respect the wishes of the people of Gibraltar. The UK will never enter into arrangements under which the people of Gibraltar would pass under the sovereignty of another state against their wishes, and the UK will not enter into any process of sovereignty negotiations with which Gibraltar is not content. Full stop. Last year was the 300th anniversary of the Treaty of Utrecht, and of course this year is the 350th anniversary of the Royal Marine Corps, a body of men closely associated with Britain and British Gibraltar. 301 years now of Gibraltar being officially British. And now we are looking forward to the next 300 years of British Gibraltar. I want to pay a particular tribute to Gibraltar's extraordinary economic success. Just a couple of decades ago, Gibraltar was a garrison city, a garrison town, earning its living from the work of the garrison. The border makes business exceptionally difficult, but in this short space of time, the economy of Gibraltar has turned itself into a thriving, outward-looking entrepot. From financial services to bunkering, there's a big sign hanging on the rock that says "Open for Business." And we're working hard with the government of Gibraltar to make sure that that message is heard loud and clear around the world. And as a real international financial centre, I know that Gibraltar shares the UK government's belief in sound public finances, building economic resilience and effective regulation. So I very much welcome the constructive and important dialogue between the British and Gibraltar governments on tackling crucial issues around regulation to make sure that Gibraltar stays a great place to do business, such as the challenges of corporate secrecy and the establishment of publicly accessible central registers of company beneficial ownership. All of these things are vital if Gibraltar is going to remain a dynamic and successful international economy in the future. You will have our full support in developing new economic opportunities. I want to see a Gibraltar with an even more vibrant and diversified economy, making it even more resilient and equipped to compete in the 21st century. And we will work with you, Chief Minister, in faithful partnership to help you to deliver that, which I know is your agenda. I also want to say a few words about the delays at the border that are still causing difficulty to the people who live in Gibraltar, for the people who work in Gibraltar but live in Spain, and for people who simply want to visit Gibraltar. It's now nearly a year since Spain began this particularly harsh regime of border checks. Let me be absolutely clear. Spain's border checks are disproportionate, politically motivated, and therefore, under EU law, illegal. The fact fact is that Gibraltar, like Spain, is part of the European Union, and Gibraltarians have the same rights as anyone else in an EU country to move and to travel. We've been making this point to the European Commission at the highest level, and we will continue to do so. We got the Commission to send a monitoring mission to the border last year. They saw what was going on and found clearly that Spain's border checks were unjustified. They made specific recommendations on what both Spain and Gibraltar should do. I congratulate you, Chief Minister, for taking decisive steps to address the Commission's recommendations to Gibraltar, including legislation on tobacco. The Commission is now following up on Spain's obligations. They've said that delays of several hours to cross the border are disproportionate and have expressed serious concern over Spanish failure to implement its recommendations after the second visit. This could be, if Spain fails to act, the first step to legal action. Spain has now at last started works to improve the border crossing last week, and we'll follow progress on that, as I know you will, very closely, so that it doesn't turn into an excuse for further delays. And you have my commitment that we'll keep up the pressure on Spain and continue making clear to the Commission the importance of this issue to the British government. Finally, I want to mention another point that's crucially important to the people of Gibraltar. We've been fighting hard to make sure that Gibraltar is included in all EU aviation legislation. Let me be clear, the inclusion of Gibraltar in aviation measures is set out in the EU Treaties. No amount of wishful thinking by Spain can change that. We will continue to oppose any attempts by Spain to see Gibraltar excluded from EU aviation measures. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a government and this is a party that cherishes Gibraltar and will work with the government of Gibraltar. A government that stands up for Gibraltar. We are proud to be British in this hall, and we're proud that Gibraltar is British.